Alright, so first off, yeah, I was gone for a little bit. Family stuff. What the fuck you want me to say? But I'm back, and I'm going to be doing some Patreon requests today, starting off with one from my good friend Jason Voorhees 2011, who asked me to do a kind of loose adaptation of Wonder Woman Dead Earth with, as you can see, Sailor Moon Dead Earth. But, as always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, where you guys can hit the third tier, that'll allow you access to all the stuff on Patreon, as well as allow you to send me requests for videos to do here on YouTube as well. But other than that, let's get started. So let's begin with Sailor Moon Dead Earth. So the story begins with basically what happens is that Usagi wakes up in the remnants of this castle. She wakes up in the she was in she finds herself in some kind of cryo chamber, and at first she's like, what the hell happened? Because at first it's like, what the hell is this place? And then she realizes, oh, this is the Silver Millennium. This is the city. But what the hell happened to it? It looks like it got just absolutely wrecked. And she's looking around, calling out to the other Sailor Guardians, and trying to remember what happens. And then she sees a really horrible sight of a just mummified, petrified corpse of Mamoru, of Tuxedo Mask. And she's just like, oh my god, no. So she sees it, and she's like, what could have happened here? What happened? And she sees a little, she's trying to get the city, the Silver Millennium's systems back on. And she's hearing it's basically Mamoru's last message to her. He's like, all right, I put Usagi in cryo. She should be safe now from everything that's going on. I'm gonna watch over her as long as I can, but if she doesn't wake up, you guys need to take care of each other. You guys, it's getting dangerous out there, and the world needs all of you. And one day Usagi will come back, and if Usagi, you wake up one day, and if I'm not here to say this, that I love you. And I hope one day we'll be reunited once again in this life or a new life. And then the message ends, and Usagi's of course a mess, but now she's wondering where the other Sailor Guardians went. So she goes outside and sees just the Earth is just absolutely wrecked. It's just the landscape, the city of Japan is just absolutely destroyed, and there's clear signs of just devastation everywhere. It's clear that there's clear weapons, there's old tanks, there's a lot of shit around that really indicates that, hey, something really bad happened. Something really, really bad happened here, and now things aren't adding up. Because when she went, all she remembers is there was fire. She remembers that there was fire and war, but it's all little pieces here and there. It's all just little bits and pieces of what she remembers. So now she's just kind of well, what the hell happened? How could this have happened in any capacity? So as she's trying to remember everything, she's walking around. She's basically walking around the remnants of what was Tokyo, and trying to get her memory back, and scouring the planet and seeing what who else could be alive after all this. And what she what she discovers is a small colony of humans just kind of living around a fire, eating rats and what other food they can scavenge. And when they see Usagi, they're just no, go away, please. We don't, whatever you are, we don't want, whatever you are, if, you're one of the gods, please don't hurt us. And Usagi's one of the gods? I don't understand what's going on. I'm Sailor Moon. Does anyone recognize me? You guys have to have recognized me, even if whatever happened, please tell me what's going on. And he's like, Sailor Moon? Sailor Moon hasn't been seen for 200 years. And that really fucks with Usagi. She's been in cryo sleep for 200 years, and mankind has thoroughly fucked up. So she basically integrates herself with this colony of humans and like hears stories from them. Is like what happened 200 years ago. So the elders of the city were like, we were we were mere children, but those of us who remember hear the old stories from our elders. And basically Usagi is told this story of there was a war between the gods. Like there was a war between the great gods and the normal human beings. Like, and some of the gods teamed up with the humans to fight these renegade gods. And it ended in fire. It ended in what was called the Great Fire. And she's like, okay. I can't, like, what happened to the Sailor Guardians? Like, tell me about the Sailor Guardians. And they're like, Sailor Guardians? They were the Sailor Guardians were among the renegade gods. So before Usagi can like put that together, this huge giant monster just comes tearing through, like kaiju-sized monster that looks like a big ice like a big ice titan, like the Ice Titan from Hercules, and it's just completely wrecking shit left and right. Usagi has to like regain her power and like refocus her energy. She does battle with it. She's of course rusty because she's been asleep for 200 years, but she does do battle with it, and she does kill it. And what she discovers after killing it is that it's like all dying, and it goes, Usagi, why? And that's when she's like, oh my god, that's Ami. That's Sailor Mercury. So she doesn't tell the other humans around her yet, but she's just like, she's there with Ami, and she's like, Ami, what happened to you? And she's like, you don't remember the Great Fire. But there, did all the Sailor Guardians become this? And she's like, you'll see, and dies. So now Usagi's like gathers the other humans, and her head's still whirling from like all the crazy shit that she just saw, and she has to like take them, like she basically gets them out of harm's way before the other mutated Sailor Guardians. And she's trying to figure out what happened to them. So as they're traveling, they encounter another Sailor Guardian, and this time it's a monster version of Sailor Venus, and she's like this huge pyro titan. So Usagi has to battle her, and Venus is just like, why are you protecting them? You were the reason why we went to war with the humans to begin with. And she's like, I don't understand what's going on, but they have to battle. Venus is defeated, and what is basically like she's defeated, but she gets away. But the fight does lead Usagi to this old military base, and she also discovers other bodies, not just of like dead carcasses of soldiers, but like other dead superheroes, and not a lot of them from America either. Not a lot of them from Japan either. A lot of them come from America. So she's looking through the files of this place and basically discovers the whole story. Usagi basically discovers that 200 years ago, the Silver Millennium did declare itself its own nation in Japan. The Japanese government and the United Nations denied their, did not recognize their nationality, and even like attempted to go to war with the Sailor Guardians. But however, this kind of caused a rift in the superhero community, because some of them did see it as, they recognize them, they're allies, but others saw it as like, this is not, they're, invading territory, and it basically spiraled into even the government, like, leading to registration of superhumans. In fact, that's how they, the United Nations tried to get Usagi and the Sailor Guardians. If you want us to recognize a Silver Millennium, you gotta register with the Japanese government and work for them. And it was like, no, that's not gonna happen. So, basically what happened was civil war. Was absolute global civil war between the registered and non-registered superhumans. And this caused, like, the G.I. Joe and Autobots to fight each other, like Ninja Turtle against Ninja Turtle, and it basically spiraled out of control into absolute war, and it led to the nuking of Silver Millennium. But the thing is that the Silver Millennium, like the people of the Silver Millennium, didn't die. They all, especially the Sailor Guardians, they all mutated. They all mutated into the monsters you see now. So, what happens is that what happened next was that Sailor Moon wasn't there. She was like fighting someone else. But when the Silver Millennium was destroyed, she went Omni-Man on all the superheroes. She basically pulled an Omni-Man and proceeded to fucking murk every super being she encountered. Until it came down to her and she wiped out she just finished killing the Powerpuff Girls when it came down to her and Danny Phantom. Danny and Usagi unleashed a battle that became basically the Great Fire until Danny was finally killed by Usagi. The battle did leave her completely exhausted and drained of power. Mamoru brought her back, managed to sneak her back to the remnants of Silver Millennium, and as he's dying from the radiation poisoning, he managed to put her in cryo sleep and basically be like, she can still save the world. Like, she can still save the world and make things right again because she's Sailor Moon. Anyway, what happens next is that the colony falls under attack by the other Sailor Guardians, the Titan Guardians, and yeah, Mini Moon is the leader. She mutated into a more like monster version of Dark Lady. Like in this continuity, Usagi's daughter, as we all know as Chibi Moon, became Dark Lady, but a more monstrous version of her. Think like almost like the Maleficent dragon, but like with some Ghidorah heads. And they're here to wipe out their whole mission in life, their raison d'etre, is to wipe out all life wherever it may be. So, as you can imagine, Usagi has to put a stop to that. So she has to do battle with the other Sailor Guardians. Like, Sailor Jupiter became like a huge storm monster. Like, she's nothing but a giant electrical monster. Uranus and Neptune became like mutated, just Uranus became a bladed kind of like almost like Gigan like monster, and Mercury became like, well, Mercury, she's like blob and like made of pure mercury now, and Pluto is like a creature that is like abstract, like she exists but she doesn't exist, kind of like Void Ghidorah in the Godzilla anime trilogy. So they have to and Mars is there too, and Mars is a giant like fire titan too. So Usagi has to battle all of the remaining Guardian Sailor monsters, and eventually she does get beaten, but she ends up going back to that base, discovering Danny's body, taking his fucking bones and making a phantom sword, like basically making a sword out of his bones, and she also gets a gun and makes it out of the bones of the Powerpuff Girls, and makes bullets out of their bones. So she returns and proceeds to go full Kratos on her former sisters, with tears in her eyes, until she has to fight her own daughter. And she's like, this was all your fault. You couldn't just let it go. We all fought in your name, and you got us all killed. And she's like, I'm sorry. Kills Chibi Moon and is left there. But rather than, she goes back to the remaining humans, and they're like, yay, you saved us, but we now know you're the reason you did this, and we don't want you here. And she's like, I don't want to be here either. And Usagi just goes off into the wastelands. That's the end of the story. It's a lot more depressing than the hopeful message at the end of the original Wonder Woman story. So there you go, guys. That is Sailor Moon Dead Earth. You guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of it? Comment below, let me know. Once again, I'd like to thank my friend Jason Voorhees 2011 for this Patreon request, as well as continued patronage. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.